But let's start off, Blunty, with a public service announcement. For a lot of people, I imagine, in the FPV world have Thingiverse accounts. Thingiverse has gotten hacked.
Yes, it has. Unfortunately, there was a hack on Thingiverse's database, and they have gotten a whole bunch of stuff. They basically got, a ton of data. It seems like it got cut off like 8 months ago or something, was kind of the break point. But there was a ton of data in there. The kind of the curious thing here is it took them a little while to, actually address that this was a real thing. They kind of were silent for a little while. And then they put out this notice, and unfortunately the notice says, we've issued a notice to affected users and encourage you to update the password of your Thingiverse account. We apologize for this inconvenience, but it says some non-sensitive user data was exposed. Now, the problem with that is it turns out the leak was unsalted hashes of passwords. So
that's bad.
Yeah, with brute forcing and some rainbow tables,
exactly.
You're gonna get
obviously
right. You're gonna get right through that. So
no, and I'm kind of joking because I imagine some of the people watching don't know what a rainbow table is or a brute force. But suffice it to say that if you have non-salted hashed passwords, the passwords are obfuscated, but there are fairly simple attacks that can be used to reveal your password. So it's not just like they could get into your Thingiverse account. It's like they would know that you used Hunter123 as your password. And then theoretically, they would be able to go after all your other accounts where you used the same password because that's what a lot of people do.
Yeah, just to be clear, Riet9 says, I guess he deleted, but yeah. So unsalted basically means that it's been encrypted, but it hasn't been randomly encrypted. So it's encrypted, but you can basically use tables and lookups to brute force all that stuff back out of it with lookup tables. Where if it's salted, then you have random data that's salted into that, and it's much more difficult or impossible to get all that stuff out of there.
Yes, correct. So Thingiverse is trying to downplay it a little bit, and a lot of times when there is a leak of user data, they will leak the password table, and passwords should never be stored unsalted. The hashes should never be stored unsalted, much like steak. Because just as a matter of security practice, it is a travesty that the unsalted password hashes even existed on Thingiverse's server to get leaked. So Thingiverse, bad slap on the hand for that, but for then Thingiverse to try to play it down like, it's just the hashed passwords. No, it's a big deal. So we want to talk a little bit about password best practices because a lot of people, they use the same password on all their websites because it's a pain to keep different passwords. What is something people can do, Blunty, to protect themselves from this in the future?
There's a lot of different options. One thing I just want to I think we should start with upfront is there is a website called haveibeenpwned.com. And that is linked in the show notes. But basically you can go sign up here with your email address. And that way you'll get notified when this happens. But you can also just look up your email address or now your phone number. And let me just
put my phone number right here.
And see how many data breaches your email address has been a part of. So this will give you some indication at least of when a data breach happens because you'll get an email, maybe after the case. And then you'll also get information about what has been compromised.
So we can see here, my email address, joshuabarbarell@gmail.com, has been part of several data breaches. Apollo, Canva, Discus. I should stop scrolling before we see that embarrassing website that I don't want you to know I was part of. Kickstarter, Evite, and everybody, you can check yourself there. But here's the thing, Blunty. If you have previously been part of a data breach, what should you do about it?
Well, so there's a couple things here. One is, like you mentioned before, stop using passwords, all the same passwords everywhere. You should be using, typically these day and age, most people are using some kind of password manager.
Yeah.
So like LastPass is a great option.
Yeah.
There are a couple different password managing programs, but basically they'll generate you a password that will work for each individual website. And then you'll have a master password with them. And typically there's some use like a local key storage, some use like physical access. Like there's a bunch of different options for how you can do it. But basically, you'll verify there, and then you can edit or change them if you need to. But then every time you go to a new website, you'll generate a password, and then if anybody gets that, there's nothing they can do with that.
So I don't want to go too far into this because I don't want to risk accidentally showing something on stream that I shouldn't show. Although I don't think that should happen, because obviously, if someone were to sit down at my computer and just hit open my vault, right, then they should be limited to what they could see. But this is my private computer, so their security is a little bit more lax. But there's this plugin here for LastPass, right? And you can generate a secure password. It can be any length you want, 40 characters, right? And you say, well, how am I going to remember that? Well, you're not. That's the point. LastPass will remember the password. You remember your master password, or if you're on phone, you can even use your fingerprint instead of a master password. It's up to you. You generate a unique password for every website, and then it just autofills them. You remember your one secure master password. And then when there's a breach like this, you go, oh, crap. Well, Thingiverse got pwned, but none of the other sites that I'm on, I don't have to worry about them. And I just go change my Thingiverse password and I'm good to go.
Yes. Also, just something to know, it is possible for your password manager to get breached as well. But if you use a proper password manager, most of them have storage separately so that they can't even decrypt all your keys. All that decryption happens between. So just vet the services that you're using, but any of them are better than using one password for everything. The other big thing we should mention is two-factor authentication. So most sites these days allow you to do two-factor authentication, which means in some way or another, whether a Google Authenticator app or just using your phone number, right, something like that, you'll get some kind of message or information or have to verify a number that's constantly changing or emailed to you, right? And then you'll have to enter that to log in. So no matter if somebody has your password, only on websites that you don't have two-factor on can they actually do anything with it. Otherwise, you'll just get a message on your phone. Somebody's trying to log in. And then nothing will happen.
Yeah. And so, for example, two-factor authentication, you can get a dedicated little keyring dongle that is your two-factor key. One IFPV in the Discord points out that Titan security key is one. There are others. And you can also get an authenticator app for your phone, in which case your phone basically becomes your two-factor key. The disadvantage of that is if someone gets your phone, then they've got your key and potentially your password manager. But there's no perfect solution, but almost anything is better than just using, your birthday as the password for all your sites.
Yeah, real quick, this SMS is not secure thing is totally ridiculous for a normal person. It is absolutely secure for a normal person. Nobody is spoofing your SIM card to get your fucking SMS 2FA. That is not happening. For anybody who's not like a security professional at a place, and you will know this.
A YouTuber.
Yes, like somebody who has things to steal. Nobody is spoofing your SIM card for 2FA. That is not happening.
However, I'm not talking about it. No, SMS, of course not. As someone who, I guarantee you, several times a year, someone tries to hack my accounts, if only because my YouTube account is probably worth a lot of money if someone were to get it and then turn it all into cryptocurrency videos. I shouldn't show it on screen because it has all my 2FA codes, but it's an app that you run on your phone and it generates the 2FA codes. It's not SMS based. So I agree that SMS based is not ideal. It's better, but Ken Piper is right. SMS based two-factor is better than no two-factor for the majority of people. So
yes. I'm saying use your phone number. It's totally fucking fine. That's what I'm going to tell you right now. Look, nobody's spoofing your SIM card. Think of the amount of work it takes to spoof your SIM card. That's not happening. People have been targeted, yes, but you are not getting targeted. Do you have a bunch of crypto? Do you have a bunch of money in an account? Do you have all your banking done on your shit? Do you have a bunch of security stuff you don't want people to find or private messages? Do you run a business? Do you have a bunch of money?
Well, here's the problem.
I mean, you should not do dumb things and you should know how to back all your stuff up. But if none of those things are true, which is 98% of the people that are here listening to this, and most people that will ever hear this, you should use SMS 2FA. It's perfectly fucking fine. That's all that I'm saying. I just hear that a lot, and it's really upsetting because I think most people have all this other stuff, and then, I broke my phone, so now I don't have my backups because I forgot to back up my Google Authenticator, and I'm a normal person who didn't need it anyway in the first place.
Well, that's why I use LastPass Authenticator. That automatically backs up your two factors. So, if you have your phone as your two-factor authenticator, and then you break your phone, and you lose your phone, now you're boned. You can't log into any of your sites. LastPass backs up to the cloud. So basically, my LastPass password and my two-factor is my LastPass two-factor codes are the master key to my entire kingdom. And my theory is that if I have one password and one set of two-factor codes, that I must protect at all costs, that's better than having a whole bunch of stuff spread out that is at risk. But then if somebody does get it, then I'm completely owned. So anyway, good. That's our public service announcement for the week, and a little bit of rant. I didn't realize you felt so strongly about this, Plenty.
I mean, listen, like it's just a base station with decryption with SDR. Like, who is doing that for some guy's like email address? Like, it's just not.
Well,
happening.
they're not doing the base station. They'll just do they'll do social engineering is how they'll do this SMS attack.
Yes. Yeah.
So they'll social engineer. They'll get them to change the SIM card in the store or whatever, and then they get in.
Yeah, and that takes X amount of work for the person that. Yeah.
Correct. I'll say one more thing. The real attack that I've heard of is that they get you on the phone and they say, "Hold on a second, I'm going to send you an authentication code just to make sure I'm really talking to you." Then they try to log into your account. You get the code and you tell them what the code is. It's, again, social engineering. You are the weakest link in the security chain.
Yes, if you do dumb stuff, you're going to get messed up. That's for sure.
All right.